Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of On Location with Harvey and Gabby. I am Harvey, and Gabby is behind the camera. Today, we're joined by Brian from Strong Coffee, co-founder and president?
Well, sure, yeah, I think I am. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks for joining us.
I'm definitely a co-founder. So.
Definitely co-founder.
Yeah.
That's good. So, Strong Coffee, when I first was told about you guys, I definitely thought we were going to be doing like a coffee brewing company.
You're very disappointed.
I'm not disappointed, but I do love coffee. But where did you guys come up with the name?
So Strong Coffee Marketing, it wasn't our original name. Our original name was SBX Media, which was like sandbox media, kind of the digital idea of playing in the sandbox. A few years into it, we had somebody, client phone us and say, hey, I just talked to you guys, and the person on the other line didn't know what they were talking about. I was like, that's weird. Turns out there was an SBX, similar company in Calgary, and we had a client phone there instead and was really confused. So we said, we have to change it because everybody forgets it all the time anyways. SBX doesn't really mean anything to anybody. So Strong Coffee, we were kind of just looking around, reading things, and there was a division of Disney, Pixar, which makes all the big Pixar films. And at one point, the story kind of goes that Pixar had a group inside of Disney called Strong Coffee, where they kind of came up with bold ideas and different visions and things of that
Fueled by
nature.
Strong Coffee.
Basically, so that kind of made sense to us because when we were going into businesses back in like 2011 when we started, we were going in and talking about new ideas about digital marketing and getting them to change their way of thinking. So Strong Coffee Marketing kind of stuck.
How did you guys get started?
So you want the really long version or the shorter version?
Give me the spicy version.
Oh, it's not really spicy.
Oh, okay. The short.
So we all came from different backgrounds, and I used to work in the golf business. I worked in the golf business for like 12 years, selling golf clubs. And after I got out of university, I wanted to get out of the golf business, but for some reason I went right back to it. And I was like, if I'm going to get back in the business, I'm going to figure out how to do something. So I built a blog about golf equipment because I would watch people hit golf clubs all day and they would tell me what they thought of them. So I would go home at night and write posts about this is what people told me about this golf club or this golf ball under a fake name. So no one knew who I was, Sir Shanks-a-Lot. And
I'm sorry, Sir Shanks-a-Lot?
Shanks-a-Lot, yeah.
Oh
so
my
Sir
gosh.
Shanks-a-Lot.
Okay.
And then over time, somebody that was working with me, he was a golf instructor, a professional. He's one of my partners here now. So he got doing the golf thing with me. And he was the golf drill guru. So we wrote this blog and we got really good at figuring out content marketing and like how to build a website and the importance of quality content and building trust online. So it was all starting to kind of come together. The strangest thing for me was one day a gentleman came into our shop in Edmonton and he looked at this set of golf clubs. He's like, tell me all about these golf clubs. I'm interested in buying them. So I started going through my spiel. And all of a sudden he said, well, I've heard a lot of good things online. And he started saying, one of the websites I read said this and this and this. It was me.
Did you tell him that?
No.
No, okay.
No. So as he's saying it, I'm in my head, I'm like, I know exactly what you're going to say next because Sir Shanks-a-Lot is me and you don't know it.
That is so
And I'm not going to tell you. But that's where I really started to see how digital, people were like making purchasing decisions. Yeah. So fast forward, eventually I got in with Travel Alberta on the digital marketing team there. I was one of the guys that kind of got the social media program going. And my boss was Trevor, who's one of my partners here now. And somebody else we work with, Brian, our fourth partner. And Travel Alberta one day made a decision that they were going to move all of us to Calgary. And myself and Trevor and Brian said, we don't want to go to Calgary. We don't have any family there. So we went in a boardroom and we said, do you want to start an agency? And we said, yep. And I said, I have a fourth guy, the guy I used to work with at the golf shop. 4 of us came together. We went. Wow.
So how did your first client, how'd you guys get your first client?
It was actually not that hard because when Travel Alberta was dispersing to Calgary and beyond, some of our bosses weren't making the move either. So one of them went to Fort Edmonton Park, one of them went to Tourism Red Deer, and that became client number 1 and client number 2.
Whoa, easy, my gosh.
And then from there, we had some experience and a little bit of clout, and we knew a lot about tourism. So I would say for the first 5-6 years, the majority of our clients were in tourism because that's what we knew. Since then, we've broken out into other areas, but we still have a real base in tourism, economic development, things of that nature.
Right, so this was pretty, I'm guessing mid-2000s, a little later?
2010, 11 is when we had to decide what are we going to do. Because 2011, we were finally done at Travel Alberta, and that's when it was like, we got to go now.
So you guys never had to do, because I know that Gabby and I, we went to school for like digital marketing,
Yeah.
and it kind of obviously it's like outdated pretty quickly. As soon as we got out of school, it's like all information was useless. So you didn't have to go to school or anything.
Sir Shanks-a-Lot taught us all. Yeah.
I'll remember that.
I went to University of I went to McEwen and University of Lethbridge. University of Lethbridge in like early 2000s. I took marketing. I dropped out of marketing because I didn't like stats, and I took general management, but I took a lot of marketing classes. So that kind of gave me some foundations.
Right.
But now I teach. I teach at the University of Alberta in their social media side of things, and I do lots of teaching now. So, but no, in terms of formal training in digital marketing, no.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So what kind of like marketing does Strong Coffee do?
So we do everything digital. So the one thing we don't do is we don't have a creative department. So we can do some creative in-house, but larger creative projects, we have other partners we work with. So we do advertising, website development, strategy work, a lot of education, etc. Those are kind of the big pillars anyways. Basically, if you want a campaign created and ran, that's where we can assist.
Okay.
Whether you're bringing your own creative stuff or we're getting one of our partners to build it for us. So,
that's really cool.
yeah, so it's pretty niche. At one time, we had visions of being a full-service agency,
Right.
but we realized we would have to bring in the entire creative side. That's a lot of people.
Do you find it like, I didn't know you taught, by the way, until right now. Do you find it hard to like balance your teaching and like what you do here?
No. The U of A one is online, so that's really simple. And then a big chunk of what we do is education. So I might go and speak at a conference or something. I'm doing it on behalf of Strong Coffee. So, so that's,
That's really cool. What's like something that, what's a lesson that you really like to teach right away?
I like doing a lot of strategy talk.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really do anything if you don't have a strategy. Like, people want to talk about social media or advertising or what have you, but if you don't know why you're doing it in the first place, then let's stop there. Gotta go back up, figure that out. So a lot of that kind of foundational pieces, and most of the talks I do are more beginner intermediate. I like when I have to do advanced stuff because it's kind of interesting, but most of it is, business owners that just need to know how digital works, or things of that nature.
Do you run into a lot of people that like start social media without knowing like what they want? What's like
Big companies do it too.
What's the like number one mistake?
Stretching yourself too thin. It takes up so much of your time. People will sit there and they'll name all the different channels that they're on, and then I think, how do you do that? Like, how do you run a business and do all that?
Like focus.
Yeah, you need a team. Like every channel needs content, pictures, graphics, videos. How do you have so much content that you can properly manage that? It's just probably not possible.
Right, and like social media. So we have a quick question from.
So a quick question for you. Do you often find, are you in the kind of, which house, are you in the house of like, you can post like, there's such a thing as posting way too much? Or are you in the house of like, post kind of just enough? Because sometimes with some of like the clients that Harvey and I used to have in the past, they wanted like 2-3 posts a day.
Yeah.
And we were like, this is just so much because it's just gonna get lost in the ether of, so what would you kind of advise, people or folks who are like, I need to post X amount of times a day?
Yeah, I'd rather be consistent. Do it once a week or once every day for a week instead of the roller coaster of 3 a day, none for 2 days kind of thing. And be consistent. And when you have something important to say it. And it's really hard, like it really is. And I think too with social that there's a lot of businesses think that they absolutely need it. But realistically, if you understand your business, social might play a really small part of what you do. It might play a really big part of what you do. For us here, I don't win contracts in business through social. I just don't. We love doing it too on the education side, but we know that there's other things we can be doing to generate business than social. So understanding how it fits into what you do is really important too. That might dictate how much time you spend on it.
Good question, Gabby.
Because you probably won't go viral, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah. Do you find that's like something they always ask for? Like, how do we go viral with this?
Yeah, it's like,
thing?
how do I get struck by lightning? Go outside the lightning storm. There's no formula, right? I mean, I guess technically there could be a formula. Like Mr. Beast kind of has some things figured out. But overall, realistically, just be there, be present, talk when you need to talk, have good things to say, and go from there.
Do you find like consistency is more important than like the content itself sometimes?
No, I think that quality is pretty important. Yeah, because if you just post things that no one cares about, you can be as consistent as you want. It doesn't really matter.
Okay, that's
you can
fair.
be consistently bad.
That's fair. Yeah. So how has social media changed since like 2011? I guess like
it's way more noisy. Like I remember when we were at Travel Alberta in 08, 09, you could advertise, but you didn't need to because we could actually develop an organic following. And when you posted, things would actually happen. Whereas now it's very much a paid game. It's very noisy. So you have to alter your strategy accordingly. You can do things organically, sure, but think of it as a freeway. There's 20 times more cars on the freeway now than there were before. When
you were learning social media, how long did it take you? Like, was it a lot of trial and error? And mistakes, or like, did you have to?
Well, it was interesting because we could only do so much trial and error at a place like Travel Alberta because it's a Crown corporation. So if I say something wrong, they know about it. So if anything, we were able to learn in almost like a kid glove environment where we could be super safe. Yeah. Because I couldn't really go and try something crazy and different because social was just coming on board, and the second a Crown Corp or a government body says something, there's going to be people that will jump all over you. So it was actually kind of an interesting environment to learn in because we had to play it safe and we didn't really make a lot of mistakes. But I would always think in my head, if this was just my company, I'd probably look a trend, I'd jump on that trend. But I think brand social has evolved a lot now. But at that time, it was a lot of eyes on us because no one truly knew if we should even be on social to begin with. So I had to be kind of careful.
What's the biggest, so I have this problem a lot where if, say, a client, they want to do something that is like a terrible, terrible idea. How
it's never happened ever.
Oh, right. How do you communicate? See, I always get Gabby to do it because I know that I can't communicate very well when it comes to that. I'll just say like, well, don't do that. What is like your strategy?
I'll tactively say it's a bad idea, basically. I'd rather them know it and we can just move on than saying, oh, maybe we could work with that. If we can't, we can't. Like, I'd rather just tell you and be honest. I think people appreciate that, where we'll just tell you if it's a good idea, a bad idea, because we want you to be successful.
Right. Yeah.
Like, if I see that it's going to be a train wreck, why wouldn't I stop the train before it hits everything else? Like, it's not going to work.
Could you give a percentage of like how many client ideas have been fully successful and like realized?
A lot of them. We have a really good kind of roster of clients that we've worked with for a long time, and they have good ideas generally, and they just need help. Like, they're missing that piece. So like, how do we make this do this? Okay, so I would say a lot of them are pretty good ideas. Where the really crazy ones come is when you're maybe meeting somebody for the first time, and that's where, if something really crazy is out there, that's where we'll be really honest and just kind of say, I don't think working with us is for you because I don't think it's going to work. But we're very, very fortunate. We have some really awesome clients. We really do. I know every agency probably says that, but we really do.
As a creative process, like when a client comes to you with an idea, what's your process to actually like realize that idea?
I think what are we trying to achieve? Like, an idea is cool, but what's the end goal? Like, you have a cool idea for a video, but what are we trying to do with the video? What are we trying to achieve? Are you selling something? You're promoting something? And once we have that, then we can work backwards with the ideas. The thing I don't like is if we just start on something because it's cool, but we actually don't know why we're doing it in the first place. And that's going back to the idea of strategy first.
I feel like we make that mistake a lot back in the early days.
You probably can't see it on camera, but behind us, we have Think, Do, Teach, which is our motto. Think being developing strategies, do being do the work, and teach being to help people do it.
Wow. What is like, so people that with no budget, say they're just like a really tiny business, they don't have money for like a marketing team, it's just like a guy and his like cousin. What's a strategy you recommend for them on like social media?
Start small, build content. If you have content, either you can distribute it yourself or you can find people that would distribute it for you, whether it be a chamber of commerce or partners or whatever the case may be. But if you don't have that content, that's the gasoline of the engine. doesn't really matter what else you do. So that goes back to our days of starting our blog, where we blogged 5 days a week for 3 months before we saw a visitor.
Oh.
Like, we knew that content was important, so we're like, we better just start blogging.
That goes back to consistency.
Yeah, and Sir Shanks a lot and consistency. And the first visitor was from Finland, so probably couldn't even read what we were writing.
What do you think is like more important nowadays, like having good social media presence or like a good advertisement?
They kind of go hand in hand. Like, it's the thing with ads is ads are great, but when the budget stops, you go back to no one knowing who you were because you didn't spend any other money anywhere else. And social, it's that slow climb, but you're building like a foundation of a house, just like a website. Somebody might not come to your website on day one, but you built a foundation to build off of. So a little of A, a little of B, a little of C kind of thing. That's kind of the approach that I would take.
Right.
So some people, they love social, they love creating content. That's awesome, go for it.
The digital world like moves so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever feel overwhelmed that you have to constantly keep up with like changing things all the time?
Not really. That's part of the reason we did the podcast too. It's like, if we're going to learn it, we might as well tell everybody else while we're doing it. So I think that's really helped in those first 26 episodes now, that it's forcing us to look ahead and talk about it where maybe we didn't in the past. So that's been really helpful. And then when I go speak places too, I have more content to draw from because we just talked about it on the podcast. So I had to read an article, force myself to read an article because I'm talking about it. So that's been really helpful. So
where do you actually normally speak? Just like teaching
like
or
conferences?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yes, another question.
I wanted to ask, because it's like, not only is it in the wall itself
Yeah.
that was done there, but like teaching seems to be a very important facet to you folks. Why, and I know from an ethical standpoint, but why did you folks go the route of like teaching and kind of opening up minds rather than the opposite of like, we will think we will do, we'll stop right there and kind of keep that knowledge?
Yeah. We just like doing it, and I think when a client is better informed about what we're doing and how we do it, that's when the good ideas you mentioned, maybe you don't hear as many bad ideas. We're constantly telling them what we're doing, and we're willing to show them what we're doing. And if they're informed and they know what we're doing, maybe a good idea sprouts out that way. So, but we just enjoy doing it. And from a business perspective, it's a way to get out and meet new people and get more people to know about Strong Coffee. So I got to travel to some cool places, and it's been fun.
If you didn't get paid, what's the thing you would want to do?
Probably teach, speak. Yeah, I like doing that.
What's your favorite part of teaching?
I would say when you're speaking and you can see that a couple people got it and they were like, oh, that's cool. And then they come up to you afterwards and want to talk. We had one, actually, they're a client now and have been a client for many years. I was speaking in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I got off stage at a conference, and this lady came straight from her seat right to me and said, we're working together. Oh. I loved what you had to say, and they've been a client for like 9 years now.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. That's where it's like, hey, that's neat. Like, whatever I said kind of hit home with you, and you took it and you did something with it. Or when I go speak somewhere and I go back to a place that I've been before, and someone says, I heard you speak a few years ago, and I tried some of the things and they worked. Awesome. That's so cool.
No. What's your current biggest challenge right now as of 2025, I guess?
I would say there is that idea of there's that balancing act with AI. Everybody wants to know what it does. And I think for us, sometimes it's like you see something that's cool, like a tool, not falling too far down the rabbit hole where I just wasted half a day.
Yep.
And now I can make like a cat dressed as a queen or something dumb like that.
Guilty.
Yeah. So I like to look at it like, if I'll identify a problem I have, then I'll go find a tool to fix the problem. But I will say, between the podcast and learning stuff more about AI, etc., I think I work more on Saturday and Sunday mornings than I ever have. Like, I'll wake up early, do a little bit of work before my wife and kids wake up, and get some stuff done. So.
I know you teach a lot and you kind of support other creators in that way. What's something like Gabby and I, we're not big on speaking publicly so far, I don't think.
You're not.
Well, I'm not. But what's something that smaller, I guess, content creators and people like Gabby and I could do to support the community, I guess, of other creators?
Sharing stories, that's a big one. We've had events here where we had some events last fall where there were photographers and videographers and other creators that came here they all kind of knew each other, but I was out of the loop. We were hosting it, so that's why I was here. But the number of amazing creators that live here, that do work around the world, is crazy. But maybe their story hasn't been told, whether maybe they don't want to tell it. But like sharing some of that stuff, like, hey, look at this cool photo set of this, whatever. Somebody from Edmonton did this, or a video, or that's, I think, is a big part, is sharing those stories and success stories. And
What's been your most like memorable story?
there have been some, like some of the people that I've met, and just the kind of work they've done around the world. You would never think that, you know, why did this company, it's a worldwide company based in Europe, and the person that they wanted to use for this creative project was from Edmonton. It's like, that's cool. That's neat.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
From our side, on the film and content side, we've been approached by certain clients where they're like, I'd like to do this genre or this style or this whatever. And
Yeah.
like, we love the challenge. However, we also do know folks that like, this is all they specialize in, this is all they do. Is that something that you kind of believe in? Like if you're approached by a client, like you've never really done, you know, like be it construction or a donut shop, like you mentioned, like, and you're like, you'd probably be better off going here?
Yep, we do it all the time.
Okay.
Yep, because really, I mean, if I know that there's another agency or a freelancer that can do an amazing job with this, and it's not really our thing, of course, yeah, like go there. Like, and the hope is they tell somebody else, hey, these guys were just really upfront and said this wasn't for them. It's not going to hurt us. I'd rather get involved in something that we know we can do because it's in our niche and we're good at it, than kind of taking something on that maybe we shouldn't have because somebody else could probably do it better. So that's fine. I don't mind.
Which is a wonderful segue / plant for what kind of clients are you? I know, I saw it in your face.
He beat you to. He kind of stole it, really.
Yeah, I'm like running out of. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, and this guy's just stealing questions.
Sorry, yeah, just to go back to it. Yeah, what kind of clients do you kind of enjoy working with, and would you like to kind of work with in the future?
I like ones that are open-minded and they're willing to trust us and trust our knowledge to do cool, good things. If there's a lot of hesitation there, or they're unsure about really any agency, or maybe they've been burned in the past and they're coming into it with kind of a negative attitude to begin with, that's tough. That's a tough one to do. So we've got a lot better over the years at vetting potential clients when they come approach us through a sit-down in-person meeting or a phone call, and just say, are we a good fit? Because if we're not, I'll just save everybody the time and say we're not. That's fine. I'm fine with that. So the clients that we keep and we work with all the time, they kind of say, you know, here's the idea, here's what we want to achieve. We trust you. We trust that you know what you're doing. You've done this for a long time, and tell us what you need us to do, and we're here to help. And that's, if we hear that, cool, let's do this.
Have there been I hate to ask, but like, has there been a lot of clients that you were like, don't think is a good fit, or do you do a lot of, how do I put that?
Try to vet it out ahead of time.
Okay.
Yeah. We fired clients before.
You fired clients before?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing you could do. You can fire clients? Oh my gosh.
Can we fire clients?
Can we do this the whole time?
It's so refreshing when you do. We don't do it very often. No, please.
Are
we
you
don't do it
allowed
very
to talk about it, or is it like?
Well, not really, but
yeah.
you know what? If things just aren't jiving, and we feel that we're being a burden to you for whatever reason, or they'll say, I think I can go somewhere else and get this done better.
Oh no.
But a lot of times we'll hear that and we'll be like, I don't think you can, but okay, fine, go for it.
Try it.
Then that's what it is. That's fine. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't happen very
I like
often.
that attitude.
Doesn't happen very often. But
that's good.
it's part of being open with our clients.
I just wanted to touch back on teaching. So you said you do it at the U of A.
Yeah, it's an online course. We used to teach in
course.
person at the U of A, and now it's part of their social media. They have kind of a social media certificate program, so it's a lot of like, it's under the faculty of extension, but they just switched the name of it, and I can't remember what it's called now. It's like professionals that want to carry on their learning, that kind of thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're one of the classes. I do social media strategy, but we've done some in-person things in the past, and yeah.
What's like the number one question that you always get asked from them, like from those students specifically?
Yeah, a lot of times they're specific to their businesses because these are professionals already working in their profession.
Oh, I see.
And now they've been asked by their employer or whoever to take this course. So a lot of like, hey, this is what my business is all about. You know, how can I do this? So one thing I like to do is part of the course is you have to build a social media strategy kind of over the different modules. I encourage them to use their own businesses, so they actually build the strategy for their own business while they're doing the course. And then they meet a market. And
Oh, you market too.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool. Do you ever feel like when you're when you're giving out all this like information, do you feel like you're competing with yourself a little bit? Like you're giving away some trade secrets?
There are no trade secrets at this point. Yeah, it's all out there. So it comes down to understanding it and, you know, that knowledge that we have from going all the way back to when I did Sir Shanks a lot in 2003, 2004, right up till now, that we've just seen a lot at this point, and we know, you know, we have a lot of experience, and that's that's kind of where we come from.
How did you come up with Sir Shanks a lot, by the way?
I think it was just a nickname that we had when I used to work in the golf business for somebody that wasn't very good.
Ah,
So they shank a lot, right? So it was like
Yeah,
Sir Shanks a lot. And then actually originally there was a Sir Putz a lot that I worked with too. But that's how it came about.
Okay.
And then, we had it right through until last year we sold it. And we hadn't updated in years.
have you told anyone you were? That's
Yeah, well, well, I mean, people kind of know. My family all knew. But the one thing I couldn't do, and I can talk about this now because it's so far removed, but back in the day, we would have our different reps from the companies like Callaway and TaylorMade, et cetera. They would come to the store and they would say, I was just down at the spring meetings. Here's the clubs that are coming out, and they would show brochures.
Oh.
So I'm sitting there reading the brochure going, I'm going to drop this news ahead of time before anybody else. They don't know that I'm leaking the news.
Oh my God.
So I would read it and be like, oh, this new set of irons is coming out. And then that night,
Golf TMZ.
so then what ended up happening eventually was the companies, their headquarters in California or wherever they are, they would reach out to our website and say, how did you know that? And then it becomes this big becomes
That
like,
is
well,
pretty
I
cool.
knew it because I saw it in a store that I work at, but I'm not telling you what store I work at. And eventually what ended up happening was a lot of these companies, as they became more savvy, they would just send us directly the information. They would say, here's the deal. These clubs are coming in the fall or in the spring. Here's the info on them. You can post this after April 1st. So that's
that's
kind of
smart, actually.
kind of like how when you watch like NHL when they're breaking trades,
Yeah.
they have all the insider. Basically, that's what ended up happening, whereas they would send us stuff ahead of time and say you can post it on this date, and we would. And then eventually we actually got to go on visits and go to like TaylorMade in California and
Whoa.
Callaway, and it was kind of cool.
So are you still like an avid golfer?
No.
Were you a golfer?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I haven't played in 10 years. I went to the driving range the other day.
Oh my gosh, 10 years.
I wear golf shirts.
I forgot if you mentioned, do you still keep that running, the blog? Or
We
is that...
sold it last year.
Oh, okay.
It hadn't been updated in a really long time because we're busy doing this. And we actually used the money that we made from it, which wasn't a whole lot, to buy equipment for our studio, which has become kind of our next project that we're building out now. So a lot of that money went into the seamless paper on the walls and the little utility cart and the sandbags and the lights. That's what we used it for. It was like, let's put it into something like that. It's our next big project. So
That's pretty cool. Oh,
Is the plan for the studio to kind of be utilized, rented out, stuff like that?
Yep.
Or is it personal to you?
both. So originally when we did it, the reason we did it is because we bought this place in 2019 and then COVID hit and we all worked from home, so it sat empty. So like, we got to do something. It's a cool space. We got to do something with it. So we decided we would, rent it out to people we knew. But now it's become photographers, videographers, event professionals, people that want to do something cool in there. So we have, like, for example, next week we have a play for a festival here, and then a video shoot that comes in, and then 2 days later my sister's wedding reception's here, and so we can do lots of stuff. But I just think it's a cool space that why not let people rent it out and make their own cool things. We've seen so many neat things that have been made in here that, going back to the idea of interesting people at Edmonton and creators, well, all of a sudden you see what they're doing in here. It's like, this is so cool. This is neat. I would have never thought you could do that. But so it's been really fun to kind of connect with that creative community, because truthfully, we're not really a creative agency. We don't have a creative director. We don't. So it's a cool bridge that otherwise you might not know these people. So.
Okay, well, we're actually
Out of time.
out of time.
Out of time.
But thank you so much.
Yeah, my
for,
pleasure. Thanks for coming.
No, if people want to find you online, where can they find you?
Yeah, strongcoffeemarketing.com and strongcoffeestudios.com. Studios is our space. And then at Strong Coffee on Insta, TikTok, YouTube. There you
Cool. That was so quick. I didn't realize that was been an hour. Thank you so much.
No problem. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you. My hands are a little sweaty.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Oh my God. That's been this episode of On Location with Harvey and Gabby behind the camera. Thank you again so much, Brian from
no
Strong
problem.
Coffee, and we'll see you guys next time.